this is just a few slides, but what I discovered in doing my doctorate is that it actually literally, this is literal, women have saved Shakespeare from oblivion. This is just a fact, actually. That I can't prove it to you today, but I will show you some of the comments that have been said over the years. As Elizabeth, right? Pointed out, Margaret Cavendish in 1664. She was a poet, a philosopher, a scientist, a playwright. Nay, one would think that he had been metamorphosed from a man to a woman. For who could describe Cleopatra better than he hath done, and many other females of his own creating, too many to relate. Aphra Behn, who some think is Mary Sidney's granddaughter, claimed Shakespeare as an ally, as an honorary woman writer, 1673. Tybalt said, and there is scarce a poet that our English tongue boasts of who is more the subject of ladies' reading. These ladies were reading the plays. The Shakespeare Ladies Club showed up in the 1730s. And once they got started, they started insisting on the original text being performed instead of the bastardized versions. In the newspaper, it said, some ladies indeed have shown a truly public spirit in rescuing the admiral, yet almost forgotten Shakespeare from being totally sunk in oblivion. In another paper at the time, the ladies of Great Britain formed themselves into a society and revived the memory of the forsaken Shakespeare. Now, we do have references to performances of the time, but David Garrick, you know the memorial in Westminster Abbey, right? Did you know that it was the Ladies' Shakespeare Society who put that there? No, you didn't know that because it was really difficult to find that information. Everything you read about it assumes some men put it there. But going back to the source, this is 25 years later at the Jubilee. David Garrick is still praising the women. It was you ladies that restored Shakespeare to the stage. You formed yourselves into a society to protect his fame and erected a monument to his and your own honor in Westminster Abbey, which is something the women did. They kind of took on the aura of Shakespeare. In a number of ways. Mary Cowden Clarke, the second female editor of Shakespeare, she was a strong proponent of women starting to read Shakespeare from very young, starting with Lamb's stories and moving up. To read Shakespeare's works, even superficially, is entertainment. To linger over them lovingly and admiringly is enjoyment. To study them profoundly is wisdom moral and intellectual. Jennie June Crowley started the Women's Club movement in America. She was a journalist, but she was not allowed to attend the interview with Mark Twain, maybe, because she was a girl. So she started a movement, the Women's Club movement. And it was the women's clubs, there were thousands of them in America. And America is huge. England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales all fit inside the state of Oregon. All of them fit inside there. So it's huge. So it was the Shakespeare women's clubs who took Shakespeare across America. Within a year or two of the Anglos coming into a state, there would be women's clubs reading Shakespeare. Helena Fawcett in 1890 said, she's an actress. Woman's words coming from a man's lips, a man's heart, it is monstrous to think of. One quite pities Shakespeare, who had to put up with seeing his brightest creations thus marred, misrepresented, spoiled. And 1911, still, Higginson is saying, let the most accomplished critic of Shakespeare be announced to give a lecture on his favorite theme in a hall or a parlor by day or by night, and it can be safely guaranteed that 3/4 and probably 9/10 of his audience will be women. So, and this is still true today. I run 4 different Shakespeare reading groups. Every Sunday morning, 30 people get together and we read Shakespeare out loud and talk about it, and 3 other groups. Among that, like 45 people, there are 4 men. So this is still a thing. This is still, and Bill says in his classes, that in his Shakespeare classes are mostly women, although he's not sure if it's Shakespeare or him that they're coming for. So does this mean something? Does it mean something that women have always been and still are the caretakers of these works? Thinking backwards, what might it imply about the work itself? That women have this thing that we like about these plays. I'm wondering, I don't have an answer, but I'm wondering, is it because there's something deeper speaking to us that we can't even quite pinpoint right now? Does Shakespeare write like a girl? I don't think there's a yes or a no, but it starts your mind thinking in different ways. Thank you.